Is there an affordable stills and video camera which shoots 4K, doesn't overheat, and doesn't cost like a ton of ships or like Titanics and all that stuff? So today we're discussing Sony a6400, the best product of 2019 to 2020 season, the best camera and video camera, and today I'm gonna tell you about the kit of a vlogger, and you can produce a lot of great content with this camera. So my review, it's a little late guys, but still it's a great addition to your kit as a B camera, C camera or vlogging solution, so let's go. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're welcome to No Limits On channel and my tech kitchen. Actually, we don't need this box anymore, it's nothing interesting there, but some interesting stuff is definitely in here. 24.2 megapixel ISO up to 3200, 11 frames per second in stills mode, 425 face detection AF points, real-time eye tracking with the stills and face tracking with the video, real-time tracking, silent shooting for stills, touchscreen for focusing or shutter, 4K downsampled from the 6K sensor, which is very nice, Super 35 sensor inside this baby, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and standard SD cards like this one. You can buy this camera for $1,000 with the lens which is 16 to 50 f3.5 to 5.6 with optical stabilization guys, which is a pretty nice price, but you can get this camera much cheaper used for around $800 or even less in a pretty good condition. Sometimes my friends and just people all around the web ask me which camera to buy for my YouTube vlogs or just lectures or my archiving, family stuff in general. And I always say take a look at the APS-C lineup of the Sony cameras, like a6400 or a6600. These cameras are relatively cheap. The Sony E-mount is a very versatile camera mount, lens mount, and also you can produce some extraordinary picture quality because the 6K downsampled to 4K in S-Log2, you can get some outstanding results, and I can even match this camera flawlessly with my Sony a7S III, this one, which is shooting me right now. I'm gonna tell you a few words about this camera, and later on I'm gonna show you a kit for around $1,000 or maybe $1,200, which can provide you with outstanding picture quality, good sound, and actually you'll be able to record almost any kind of video you want. Something's wrong with my mouth today. And now let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics of this camera. It has the power on-off button, the custom button here, the mode dial, your shutter dial. Also, let's turn the camera on. Here we have our AF/MF switch, if we set this to be the viewfinder or your monitor switcher. Also it has the flash, the pop-out flash. You can actually do it like so with your finger and the flash will pop to the ceiling, and you will get much better result than straight into the person's face. It's not the best choice, but the flash is a nice bonus. Also your culture mount, of course. Here we have the function menu button. Here's the layout of my function menu. Also the dial, which is absolutely customizable. The custom button number 2, which is customized for the clear image zoom on my camera. The playback button, and that's it. And by the way, the flimsy little pretty not great record button. And the best feature, I guess, of this camera is the tilty screen. Like, not tilty, maybe it's a tilty screen. It does like so. So you can basically vlog with it, or you can mount it on a stand and you can see your top-down shot. So it's the greatest camera you can have for your top-down because it's cheap, because it has autofocus, because it records unlimited 4K without overheating, and you can basically record indefinitely until you have the space on your SD card. So no 30 minutes limit. If you are recording a lecture, it's a great choice because you can basically just hit the record button, and if you have a 128 card inside, you can record up to, 5 hours of 4K footage in 60 megabits per second, which is great. Unfortunately, this camera doesn't have the IBIS system, so the sensor stabilization is not here anymore, like in the a6500, by the way. So if you're vlogging like so, you'd better use something like a gimbal or at least a Gorilla Pod, so to make it heavier and not to be, getting too shaky footage. And also the rolling shutter performance, because the processor is reading the sensor line by line, and you get this jello effect like on this shot. Let me show you from the A7C review. Here is the review itself. And you better don't, whip pan. You better not whip pan with this camera because it will get some jello effect very a lot. Or do not shoot outside of a car window, because the trees that you're passing, they will be like so, not like this. And also, I don't really like the flimsy, those little ears, how to call those. I prefer to detach those, but I was too lazy to detach them because this camera is for a review only, and I'm just looking forward to buy it as my C camera or even D camera. Also, this features the little flimsy battery, the old type of batteries from Sony, NPFW50s, which are a little bit over 1000 milliamp hours, and they last for about an hour in 4K mode, so you better use a power bank or have a lot of those batteries, because this camera is just chewing through batteries. And a few words about the ports. Here we have the ports, the mic input, the HDMI, the smaller one input, and your micro USB cable for charging. I prefer to charge my APS-C cameras, even now the a6300 on top is charging via the power bank, and it's a better solution than having a ton of those batteries. I just prefer to stick one battery and to use the power bank with this one. And now let me tell you a few words about my Sony a6300 and the differences between this one and that one, and why you are going to buy this one if you consider buying some of those two cameras. So the differences between this camera a6400 and a6300, which is right there, my top-down camera. The a6300 has been working for me for almost 6 years now, and I'm very satisfied with the 4K footage and the results I'm getting. I was using it mostly on the gimbal in 4K mode, shooting some short-term content, something like a reportage thing. But if you do need to record some longer sessions, it's not the best solution. It's not the best solution. And here I have the cage, which I bought from the small rig for my a6300, because this cage is working like a radiator, so it basically dissipates heat from the camera body to the metal and to outside. And what I did is I simply did the screen like so, opened this little door, and I was using the cage, and it gave me around 30 minutes of 4K recording. But still it would overheat, so it's not the best solution if you need to record in 4K. That is why I'm looking forward to buy this camera as my top-down camera, because it has a flip forward screen. I can see what I'm showing you on my top-down camera, which is right here. And basically it doesn't overheat, it has the same 6K to 4K downsampling, and it has no recording limit. I can record indefinitely. Because now I'm recording for 25.5 minutes already, and I will have to restart the recording on my top-down camera, and it's just one more additional step, and I don't want to make it to one more step. So I'll make my a6300 my C camera and the a6400 my B camera. Actually, I do have my Sony FS7, so it will be a D and the C. Complicated. Let's move on to the lenses and the accessories that you can buy to get the pretty, well-rounded kit for video making and photos also. Okay guys, now let's move on to the gear itself. So basically we can buy the a6400 kit with the kit lens for around $750 used, and let's take this price for granted. Then we can buy the Viltrox 23mm f1.8 lens, which is around, let me count from rubles, because I'm from Russia, from Moscow. It will be around $250, maybe $300. It's closer to 200 actually, 250. Okay, let it be 250. And we're now closer to 1,000. We'll get a little bit over $1,000. So why do you need a kit lens? It is 16mm on the wide end, which is a 24mm equivalent if we take the full frame cameras. So it's an APS-C, we multiply it by 1.5, so we get around 24mm on the wide end, and on the telephoto end we get around 70mm, which is pretty okay. It's not a fast lens by any means, so you cannot achieve a lot of shallow depth of field or shoot in a low light environment. But for this purpose we'll be using the Viltrox lens. It's a pretty nice and sharp lens. I've watched a ton of reviews, and it will be around a 35mm equivalent lens with a f1.8, so you'll be able to blur the background nicely, or you can actually get some pretty cinematic results in 4K mode and using the S-Log2 and grading it. I have a video about the S-Log3 and I'm planning on making the S-Log2 video on an 8-bit camera as well, so stay tuned for that. Then we need a microphone, Rode Video Micro, for around $25. It's a great little microphone, it plugs directly here, but the cold shoe will be kind of in a way of our tilty up front monitor display, so you can also optionally buy the cage itself and you'll have one more point of cold shoe, so it won't be in the way. What's wrong with me today? It won't be in the way or in so it won't be in a way of your microphone and you'll be using it with a better, gripping solution. Also, you'll need a power bank like this one, 20,000 milliamp power bank from Xiaomi. It's a pretty great little power bank. I'll leave a link down in the description for almost all of the gear I mentioned. And you can basically run this camera from this power bank for 10 plus hours or maybe even 12 plus hours, no doubt. Also, you'll need an SD card. The SanDisk cards are pretty nice. They are pretty cheap and affordable. For 20 bucks you can get a very nice card for 128 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes. For 128 gigabytes I'm able to record around 5.5 hours or 4K 60 megabits per second. Also, you may need a tripod. The GorillaPod is a nice option. It costs around $10 to $15 depending on where you buy this, but it's a great solution. Also, you can basically mount it on a table or to any pole and use it like so, and it's better for stability because this camera doesn't have the image stabilization, as I said before. And you'll have to buy a little, ball head, so you can basically mount the GorillaPod and adjust the camera level with a ball head. You can buy this very cheap for like $2, $3, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 bucks for the better one. So we're looking at around $1,100, and for this amount of cash you'll be able to shoot almost any YouTube video you want to. You'll be able to shoot something like, I don't know, reportage, a concert, a vlog, so basically anything, and it's a great solution for that. If you're choosing between this camera, a6400 and a6300, I'll definitely look at this one. Or if you have the cash, at the 6600. But if you add some money to the a6600, you can also have a look at the a7C. If you add a little bit more, a7C is right there, the review. So maybe you have to, decide whether the cash is the main thing, and if it is, this camera and those lenses and accessories are a good way. So what do you think, guys? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Which camera is a great C or D camera or top-down camera for you, the more professional guys? And for the beginners, which camera is a great choice? It can be Sony, Panasonic, Canon, Fuji, whatever. Just share your thoughts about the cameras and lenses and mics and all that stuff. And if you did like the content on my channel, please smash the like and subscribe buttons, as I say in my videos, also the notifications bell. And I highly appreciate it, guys, because I'm just producing content as a, as a beast. I'm trying my best. This was Oleg Nikitin and No Limits On channel and my tech kitchen. I see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.